On everyone, what an absolute atrocity the Pac-12 showed today. I mean, seriously, you had Colorado just get completely demolished. Cal won. You had Stanford won. It looks like the Beavers are going to win. You had USC, UCLA won. Okay, cool. You had some of those solid games. Arizona ended up pulling off a big surprise win. San Diego State ended up just dropping that game entirely. I mean, that was an embarrassment of riches. Arizona just absolutely dominated. But nonetheless, the big highlight marquee games, like the Oregon, especially Utah. This was Utah's moment, and they just dump trucked that entire game. I mean, it was an embarrassment of riches. And it sucks because these two teams were very promising. But once again, it just shows the Pac-12, they just aren't as good as they're usually projected. And the Pac-12, they have a ton of like historied schools and stuff, and USC, they have Lincoln Riley, and now it's a big thing, and it's like, okay, we're gonna see what's gonna happen with them. And I do think that they will eventually become those marquee teams, but even then, they're trying to get out and stuff like that. It's just, you have these teams like Oregon, top ranked, you got Utah, number 7. It's like, and they just laid a dud. I mean, it wasn't even that entertaining. I mean, it was a disaster. Utah dump trucked that game entirely. It was an embarrassment. Oregon, they didn't stand a chance. Seriously, the most exciting thing that Oregon did was like come out of the tunnel. I mean, outside of that, like it was just, they might as well have stayed home. I've seen teams that, I've seen small schools that like don't stand a chance put up a better fight than Oregon. Oregon was just outmatched, man. I mean, they were destroyed by Georgia. I mean, that wasn't even fair. Like that was like, like LeBron playing against some 8-year-old at the park. Like if LeBron went full-fledged, it was an embarrassment. I mean, seriously, this was absolutely an atrocity. Oregon didn't even show up. They were out-talented, outmanned, outplayed, outskilled. It just, they didn't deserve to be the ranking that they were. I mean, we saw that. We saw that they aren't the Pac-12. I mean, they are who they are. Every year, there's all this hype, there's all this talk, there's all this excitement. Oh, this team recruited this, and this team. And, you have Oregon, just outside of the top 10, to rank 11. Yeah, they're playing Georgia. They're the 3rd ranked team. You expect Georgia to win that game, but at least put up a fight. You're telling me that there was a 46-point difference between the number 3 and number 11 seed? Like, come on. That was terrible. That was a terrible display of football for Oregon. Oregon was it was embarrassing. They got a good old-fashioned spanking. Let's take them to the back of the barn and just beat the you-know-what out of them. Like, that's what that was. And then Utah. Come on. I mean, that was, again, number 7 ranked. The Pac-12 is like 1-12 the last like 10 years or whatever against the SEC. So it's like you have this opportunity. You're the 7th ranked team. You're playing, yes, a very solid Florida Gator team in Florida. Okay, you're winning that game. You're looking good. You go for it. You don't get it. And it just like Utah did everything they could to throw that game away. Everything they could. It was like every opportunity they had to just dump truck that game, they did that. They just continued over and over again. And it was just disappointing. You know what I mean? Like Utah had a real chance at rank 7 to come in and show like, hey, I'm this guy. You got Rising, who's supposed to be, he's supposed to be something this year. And he had some great stats. He was 22 for 30 or 22 for 32, something like that. Had like 216 yards, touchdown, threw that interception. I mean, seriously, Florida had that momentum. They had that game. They were the better team, if I'm being honest. Like, seriously, I don't know. It's just one of those things where it was very underwhelming. It was very lackluster. It was very disappointing for Utah. I really expected them to come out. Not necessarily. I didn't expect them to necessarily dominate. And look, it was a good game. But that was a game Utah should have won, and should have won rather steadily. I could have understood, a couple lead changes, stuff like that. It's a close game. Maybe it looks like Florida might pull this out, but that should have been a game that you won, whatever. You should have won that game 26 to 21 or something like that. Or, 31 to 27 or, something. That's a game that you win by more than a field goal. It shouldn't have been that close. Shouldn't have been that tight. You're the 7th ranked team. You're coming out here. You're trying to represent. You're trying to show you got the promising young running back. You got the quarterback. You got a couple solid receivers that are supposed to, potentially be draft picks and stuff like that. You got the, Kuth, or however you say his name, the tight end for Utah. That dude is supposed to be this big-time tight end, all that. And come on. I mean, they were terrible. Terrible. The only one that did actually have a solid game was Kuth, or however you say his name. He had like 105 yards, something like that. Had a touchdown. 30. But I mean, it was a mess. It was a disaster, and it was embarrassing if you're Utah. It absolutely embarrassing. And I really think that it just goes to show, like, the Pac-12, they're not. Every year we see it. Every year USC. Up until this point, hopefully USC turns it around. But USC, they're top ranked. They're like in the top 10. They're going to be this, that, and the other. The recruiting, all this. Oh, look, Utah's in the top 10. They're great. This, that, UCLA. And every year it's the same thing. Oregon loses 5 games. Utah loses 5 games. They can't beat anybody. USC goes 3 and, it's just every single year we see the same story with the Pac-12 over and over again. And it sucks because I'm somebody from Cali. I'm somebody that was born and raised in California, and I want to see USC be good. I want to see UCLA be good. I want to see this stuff, but they're just terrible every single year. And hopefully USC can be that one standout that turns it around, but it's just, even then, it's just, I don't know. It's an absolute mess in my opinion, and I think that it's very unfortunate, to say the least. But anyway, those are my thoughts and opinions, and as always, I pass the question on to you. Let me know yours down in the comment section below. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? How do you feel about the situation? I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions on the Pac-12 and just the no-shows we got with this game, especially Oregon, man. Like, that was a huge game. Like, even if you lost it, that was a game to show, like, we're for real this year. We're one of these better teams. Same thing with Utah. This was a game for them to come out, show, like, look, we deserve the 7th ranking. We deserve to be number 7. We're that team this year. They were supposed to be great defensively, and no, you gave up 29 points to Florida. Look, Florida's great. They couldn't stop the run game. They couldn't stop. It was a disaster. I mean, come on. This was a joke. Both Oregon and Utah, that was a joke. Seriously. Both of those teams, unrank them. They don't deserve a ranking. Give it to somebody that does, because they clearly don't need the ranking. Like, again, Oregon, it's not so much that they lost. Utah, it is. Utah stripped them of their ranking. That was terrible. This was a real game for them to really show that they deserve that 7 ranking. But look, Oregon, the reason I say strip them of their ranking is not because they lost. You expect them to lose to Georgia. They should have lost. But they got spanked. Come on. That was a sit down, little boy. We're going to show you what grown men play like. Like, that was just disgusting. Seriously. Show some pride. Play the game of football. I understand you're outmanned, you're outmatched, all that stuff. But, like, at some point, it just seemed like they just kind of gave up. It was bad. Utah, I still can't get over Utah. I mean, that Rising throws that dump truck pass right into the Florida. I mean, you had the game. You were right there. Right there. I mean, that game shouldn't even have been that close. But you're right there. And don't turn the ball over. I don't understand why it's so hard for some of these quarterbacks, some of these receivers, some of these running backs. I mean, Utah, like I said, they did everything they could to lose that game. They just kept dump trucking over and over and over and over and over again. It just makes no sense to me. I don't get it. I don't get, like, protect the ball, throw the ball away. You're down by a field goal. If you have to, kick the field goal and go into overtime. Why are you trying to force the ball into some tiny little pocket? Like, come on, they teach you that stuff in elementary school when you're playing, Pop Warner and stuff. Like, come on. It's ridiculous. Just terrible. You're supposed to be a top quarterback. You're supposed to be this guy. Like, everyone's talking about you. You're supposed to be so prominent. Like, come on. Go sit down. You're terrible. Terrible. But anyway, again, love to hear your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. That being said, hit that like button. Helps me out a lot. Lets me know you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button, followed by the bell notification. Stay up to date with all things sports. Join this wonderful community and all of our discussions. I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you.